right, we are sitting down here with Jye and Dean from Safe Restraints Oceania, which is a whole new venture. I'm super excited to be here and kind of burying the lead. I'm in Australia, never been before. Came down here to do some training, to do some teaching, and to help our partners here in Australia really bring the rap um, to the country. And I'm very, very happy to be here with you guys. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and on that, Tim, we want to thank you for putting the effort in coming here. It's great to have you here. Your knowledge is fantastic, and we look forward to doing this again in the future. But great to have you here. Great to show you part of how we live our lives.
I love it, man. Thank you so much. I For those that know of our audience, Arc Tactical is a corrections training company. We have gone all over the world. Haven't been here though. And one of the partnerships that we have is with Safe Restraints, I guess, America now. And we have worked with them to bring the rap all over our country and several others. And I'm very interested to hear how you guys heard of the tool, the situations that you felt like it would be appropriate to bring it to. I want to hear all about that.
Well, that's exciting. So I'm Jye, and thank you very much, Tim. I know Dean said thank you, but thank you for being here. It is very much appreciated. Safe Restraints Oceania wouldn't have started without a dream, and that dream started with Dean. Dean and I collectively been in law enforcement for 30 years, and in that time, we've done a multitude of things which has allowed us to identify that we needed a safer system of restraint.
Sure.
So I guess, do you want to tell the story, Dean? This is where it came from.
Well, yeah. All began probably a year ago, 2024. Just sitting on my phone, as you do, and kept hearing a comment over my phone. Law enforcement's in the United States mentioning the word the rap. From that point, we had a look at it. Me and Jye sat down and decided there was something that we needed to do differently in where we are to stop people getting hurt in the job, stop people going home and being injured or being injured on the job.
Sure.
And we felt that this was the perfect scenario for us to bring the rap to Australia and to Oceania. If we can do that, and if we can make a difference in working lives of law enforcement, that's what we're here to do.
I love that. And most of my audience knows what the rap is, right? Because the rap is in, I think, over 2,000 agencies. It's been around for 30 years. It's a great tool, but it's really designed to deal with folks that are in a challenging mental state or having drug-induced violent outbursts, that type of thing. And we know, the one thing that we know is the longer a fight goes on, the more dangerous it is. Yeah. And if we can't get that person help fast, that just makes it more dangerous to them. It's the faster they go to, hopefully not, but sometimes expiring in police or corrections custody. And so that's why I believe in the tool, because we can help restrain the person safely without pain.
Yep.
And get them in a breathing positive position.
Absolutely.
And then with that, we can get them help. And so I would imagine that you guys deal with similar things here in Australia. I don't think drugs and mental health is probably just a U.S. thing.
No, we are not. No, you are not alone. We're definitely in that minefield. I think it's a time to pay tribute to Charles Hammond, the president and CEO of Safe Restraints Inc. He has been an absolute shoulder to lean on, a mentor for both Dean and I in this journey. We wouldn't have been able to get where we are without him and yourself, Tim. That's for sure. When it comes to, you referred to mental health and you referred to use of force situations. We've been involved in a multitude of those.
Sure.
Without getting into specifics, we've been through the similar scenarios to you, and that's why it's here. It's here for all law enforcement agencies, whether they're corrections, whether they are police, whether they're security in hospitals. It's here for everybody.
Yeah.
And I think what I loved is it's a very simple application, and we offer the training for free. So it's a great avenue for us.
Not a bad deal. Not a bad deal at all. And you can tell that people are hungry for it. So we are being very, very careful not to talk about where you guys work or any of that. Keep it very, very separate. And I think it's important to be upfront about that, because we want to protect our agencies that we work for and we love, right? But I am curious, how did you guys get into law enforcement to begin with? Like, there's not too many people that wake up one day and say, hey, this is what I want to do. How did that occur from you guys?
Well, mine began a lot before Jye's. Been around quite some time. For me, it was a process. It was progression into law enforcement. I started doing security, moved to other areas, found that I was enjoying it. And, they always say in law enforcement, don't try to make a difference, because you can't. But I firmly believe you can make a difference. And if we can move forward in a safer manner, that's what we'll do. But I've enjoyed every step, every moment I've had in this industry has been fantastic. So I guess there are no accidents in the world, and absolutely. We are where we are because we're supposed to be here, I guess. And this is part of the journey.
I love that.
Yeah. Well, I actually have a very close friend that was in corrections in the beginning, and he said, "Come in, apply, and see how you go." And he went to a regional town, which I didn't want to do, but I wanted to come into a law enforcement agency locally in a metro area, and see how it went. And ever since then, it's opened up a whole variety of opportunities. So yeah.
That's super cool. I love that. Because there's a million ways to make a buck, right? But serving people, and just so you guys know, I could tell from day one your goal was to serve people, right?
Thank you.
And that's such an important component to this, because otherwise you will get burnout, you will get tired of the job, and you go on to something else. But you guys are still doing it after all this time, because I feel like you're still pursuing making other people better, which is fantastic. So for those that have never done it before, what is it like starting a business from new here? Like, what does that look like? There's a lot of steps. So you said it took a year, right?
Well, in Australia, it's quite funny. When Charles first asked us how long will this take, and I said, surely a month. It is. We are still working on it. We're still working on it every day. We're working to get it to where we want it to be. But what it takes is you've got to establish a company. You've got to establish an ABN in Australia. You've got to go through and have a financial program that you can use to track your financials. You've got to get the gear. You've got to work out the logistics, the materials, everything that goes into it. Has been a sharp learning curve, but I think we've successfully done it. What do you think, Dean?
Yeah, the mic's awkward. Yeah, look, I see it as the steps never end. You if you've ever renovated a home, it kind of never stops. You're always doing something. There's always something to do. And I think with where we're at today, where we've come from with this product or system, it's been challenging already. It's going to be challenging down the track in the future. But if you believe in what you're doing, I think it makes it easier.
And I think we do. We both believe what we're doing, and that's why today Dean and I are at, and yourself obviously, are at the Police Technologies Forum here in Canberra, the heart of the nation. And we've already successfully done our first training session, and we're moving on to the next training session very shortly with your collaboration, Tim. So I think the fact that we've been able to, one, get a product from America into our house, that was a challenge in itself, because we're just two guys that reached out to Charles and said, hey, we like your gear, can we have a chat?
So this is actually a great story, and
Yeah.
it cracks me up, and I think we can talk about it.
Absolutely.
So you reach out to Charles and you throw a price out there, which is way lower than what it costs, because let's face it, we're not giving the wrap away, but you get so much value from it. So it's not even about the cost, but you found the wrap in a really unique spot, which we weren't selling, and you had some questions about that. So tell me about that.
I think we should tell the story, because so Dean and I, being who we are, we research everything. We want to know all the facts before we even make that first phone call. It's funny, because I emailed Charles, Dean emailed Charles from the same day, and all of a sudden he's like, these two guys must know each other. They come from the same town, same location, and they must know each other. And then we connected with him, and he reached out, and his first email was unbelievably professional and willing to help, and just willing to give us any advice that we wanted, which was a real settling thing for us. And then it moved into a conversation with him that he described the situation. And then we said, okay, so how much is this going to cost? And he told us the American price. And then legitimately, we looked on eBay, and it was on eBay for a quarter of the price. And we went, wow, okay, there's something going on here. But something that I don't know if your listeners know, that every single wrap has a serial number on it.
Yes, it does.
So he was able to track that wrap, find out where it come from, find out why it was there. Should never have been there, but that is what started this opportunity going down this path. So
that's awesome. And it's crazy in the States. And I would imagine it's probably no different here, but in the States for sure, we have agencies. Sometimes gear goes missing or something, and that seems like that's what the case was in this instance. And they wanted to make a buck off of it, but that's not how it goes, because the wrap is such an important tool, but it is a restraint, right? We can't just have those floating out there. So I'm glad we were able to track that one down. So you start working with Charles to develop the plan. And how did it come to be that you essentially started your own company?
Well, it was a necessity. So the Australian laws require us, if we import anything from America or internationally, if we import anything internationally, we are automatically the manufacturers of that product.
Interesting.
So that puts us into a situation where we then need to somewhat control that, because it was never really the idea to actually go down this path of having our own business.
You just wanted one.
But we just wanted to get it and try it out. And then all of a sudden it went to where we are today. So I think without Charles's information, without the information we've been able to get from over there, without having the support from the entire crew, we wouldn't be where we are.
Sure.
So, and unfortunately, or fortunately, so to speak, it put us in a position where now we are directors of our own company, and we're very proud of that. So,
yeah, I think what's important as well is the time it's taken and all the obstacles that we've endured throughout this journey has been met with enthusiasm from Charles and from yourself, Tim. And we've had all that support leading to where we are now. You don't get to where you are by making mistakes. You get there because you believe in what you're doing. And it's great to like a product, or as you would say, Tim, a tool or a system. We call them products, but we'll take that away. That's let's call it the tool, because that's what it is. We love what we've got. We love the fact that it makes everything safer. So I think, it's a good tool. It's a great system.
well, right on that, and that's right on key, Dean, is the fact that the system systematically works. You know, you start off with the ankle strap. That in itself stops the conflict. We all know that. We all know how Safe Restraints Inc. work. The viewers in Australia might not know that yet, and we are getting it out there. But if we can tell the quick story of how the process works.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, so the 3-inch ankle strap, that allows for the blood flow to continue because, and I'll go back even one more step. Fremantle Prison, 1850.
Okay.
Right. It's a prison which is a heritage listed prison and the only one in the southern hemisphere of the world. And
just because you took me on this awesome tour here, because that's what I get to do on my days off is go to prison still. But we went to Fremantle Prison, and the history is super rich.
Yes.
They talk about they're trying to get clean water into the population here. They're trying to establish their country. And to do that, they used prisoners.
They used convicts. They were classified as convicts back in the day. They brought them over and they helped settle Fremantle, the location.
Yeah. And the first thing that they did was build their own prison.
Yeah.
Which is a special kind of mean, I think. But that's cool, you know.
It was unbelievable, really. The story of Fremantle Prison is unbelievable, but the stories that come inside it, down to the leg restraints.
Yeah.
They are still being used today in different law enforcement agencies where chains or leg restraints are a common tool, and that's why the wrap's here, because the ankle strap automatically saves any over tightening, any restriction of any blood flow, anything like that.
I think just to piggyback off of that, when we're talking about chains, we're talking about a legit chain and padlock.
Yeah.
And you put that around their ankles, and the goal with it, of course, the why behind it, is to stop them from being able to kick.
Yep.
The problem is, maybe not the problem, the answer is, with our ankle strap from the wrap, that's made out of nylon, not metal and chain. So you're not getting metal on bone anymore. You're getting nylon. So it's not injurious to the offender, but it still accomplishes the why, which is it doesn't allow them to kick.
Yeah. So what we've seen is we haven't changed that part of where we're moving forward.
130
we change a lot of things about what we do, about how we study, how we treat, how we look after. But the basics, which is chains, and you're talking about a country that is rich in indigenous culture, and we're chaining people up, and it doesn't sound right even using that word. So hence the wrap gave us the other option. And Jye, I'll let you continue, but I feel that it's important that you continue telling that part of the story.
Yeah, no, that is firmly important, Dean. The message of where we are, where we've been, and where we're going. Everything else has progressed. Tim told me the other day, you look at a watch, it's gone from an old pocket watch to now it's something you use to check your emails and read messages and stuff. So
analog watches, then you get your Casio in the 80s, and calculator watches in the 90s, and now I got an iWatch, right? Yep. But when you look at the gear that is being used, it's the same stuff from 139 years ago.
Yeah, that's right. So this is progression. Safe Restraints Oceania is the progression in a safer system of restraint for Australia and Oceania across everywhere, where we are available in not only Australia, but Australasia itself.
So I was going to ask that. So Oceania, that's not just Australia. What else does that include?
So it includes New Zealand, help me out here, Dean, Papua New Guinea, Singapore. Indonesia.
Samoa.
Yeah. There's a whole range of locations that we're willing to service and able to service because of our location.
That's amazing.
So one of the biggest things that is a hindrance is there's so much ocean between us and America.
Sure.
And I can only assume that's why it hasn't come here yet in that form. And also, you guys hadn't met us.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's another bonus in itself. But back to the product, you got your ankle strap, which stops the conflict straight away, because anyone in law enforcement understands that you get somebody to the ground, you put them in restraints, which is handcuffs, and then what? And
Fight's not over.
The typical answer is, well, we don't have anything else.
Yeah.
So the wrap is that answer for us, and that's why we believe in it so much. The ankle strap, then you move to the leg restraint. Now the leg restraint keeps the legs out in a extended position, and that prevents anybody from being able to kick you. And being somebody in law enforcement, you do not want to be kicked. You want to be able to control a situation and make it safe, not only for yourself, but also for the offender who we're looking after.
Yeah. Well, there's two main reasons that I have found. So first of all, if we have somebody on the ground and they're trying to kick, their main target is typically our knees.
Yep.
And because of the weight load that officers have to carry on them daily, our knees remain one of the most vulnerable areas on our body because, they can give out.
Yep.
Most of the officers I know, they're athletes. They do all kinds of tactical stuff. They work out consistently, that type of thing. And though really good for overall health, it'll really hurt your knees. And I know lots of guys have had to have knee surgery and stuff like that. So if we allow an offender who's violent and aggressive the ability to continue to kick, it's going to happen where you're going to kick somebody's knee out and then that person's out on workers' comp forever, right? So really key component to the system.
So a big focus of that is it limits and lowers the liability for not only the department or the department using it, but the offenders also.
Yeah, for sure.
So including the officers who are trying to look after the individual. Because sometimes, it's one of those situations where things just happen. They just develop quick. And that's why the wrap is such a good tool, because it's a quick response.
Yeah.
It actually contorts to your body because the 3 secured straps that go around it, you start at the ankles and you work your way up. And it's a very simple application.
Mm-hmm.
And then all you got to do is pull it tight.
Yeah.
That's it. And that's on. And then all of a sudden, everyone can take a breath. You support the person, you make sure that they're breathing, you look after their airways, and that's what moves you into the next part of the tool, which is the harness. The harness gets placed on, it gets secured by the handcuffs, and then you roll the offender up so they're sitting up in a 90-degree position to start. You do up the harness from the front, which is two clicks at the front, and then you add in the foot tether, and once that's secured, you can actually let the person sit there and focus on the next 3 things that are important, which are they breathing? Mm-hmm. And obviously they are, because they're sitting up. They're
pretty important.
Absolutely. Is there room in between the actual harness? Because the harness doesn't sit flat on their chest, so there's no pressure on their chest at all.
Nothing stops them from expanding their diaphragm.
It allows them to breathe. And then the third part is, can they lean back on itself and maintain their own weight through that? So that's the important part of that full part of the application. Finalize it with adding in the safety helmet. That is a game changer in itself, because you don't want anybody to hit their head on anything, headbutt the floor, whatever they are, whatever happens in those situations, you don't want them to do that. So through the whole thing, it keeps them safe.
Sorry, Joe, you're on a roll there.
Add it in.
Having the fight is unfortunate. But having a duty of care once you've stopped that fight is imperative. And it's the preservation of life is so important to what we do. And looking after each other, looking after officers, looking after the individual, the offender, we have that duty of care. And that is what this wrap offers. It offers so much more, even in self-harm and de-escalation process. It offers so much more, and it's important moving forward.
So important that we make that a part of our slogan.
Sure.
So what's that, Dean? For all humanity is to be treated fairly. Yeah. And that's what we incorporate with the wrap. That's our little spin that we bring to it.
I love that. So it's so important because, we over the years we've had several slogans for Safe Restraints Inc. in the States. But one of the ones that I contributed was, we don't want a bad day to be their last. Yep. And that's true of our officers, because, man, you could just be having a bad day, getting hurt somewhere, or maybe you get over aggressive and you do something that's past that threshold of what's acceptable, right? And now you're finding yourself with your walking papers or getting sued or whatever, right? But for the community side of it, if you have somebody who's having a real bad day, and look, you can talk to any officer in the States, they are either related to, friends with, or at least know somebody that has been arrested in jail, right? And so there's no judgment on that part. People have bad days sometimes, and sometimes that results in criminal activity.
Well, that's a good point, Tim, because the public expect us to do the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
They expect us to look after the individuals, and we owe it to the community, to ourselves, to follow a process that is safer for everybody.
Absolutely.
Well, you hit it on the head, because there is an expectation, right? There's an expectation that we're going to get it right in a no-fail environment, right? We have to get it right 100% of the time, regardless of where we're at, regardless of what's going on in our families, regardless of our perception of the events that are occurring. And what the RAP allows you to do is to kind of build a format, and this is one of the reasons why I call it a system, that leads to a safer outcome every time you use it, right?
Absolutely. You have, a minute and a half at the most, because it doesn't take that long to get on.
No.
The fight is over and the entire RAP application's done. And then all of a sudden, you're not fighting them to get them from one location to the next, to the next, to the next. It's one immediate action that's taken care of, and allows you to do your job, allows you to give them care afterwards. Another amazing part of the tool is the fact that it's manual handling.
Mm-hmm.
It's got handles on the side of it that allows you to pick people up, move them to wherever they need to be, and then going that one step further is the cart. One thing that I absolutely love, and the story that Charles has told us multiple times, is there's certain agencies that use the cart and the RAP hand in hand.
Yeah.
They get placed in the in the RAP, they get placed straight into the cart.
And it's nice because if you've not seen the cart, it's essentially a very extended airport luggage carrier with a framework, but it also has that mesh netting that allows basically like a tactical hammock to put our people in once they've been wrapped up. And this is so important for many reasons, but the ones that I think of off the top of my hand is, first of all, if we're looking at trauma-informed care, we never want to re-injure them with that trauma. We never want to re-traumatize them. I mean, sometimes what happens is we'll go hands-on, have to fight somebody, because that's something that sometimes has to happen, right, to keep the situation safe. But as soon as the RAP goes on, we can go hands-off. We don't have to do that anymore.
Yeah, that's right.
But when we need to move somebody, then we have to grip them, move them around, pick them up, deadlift them, right? But the reason why the cart is so important is we wrap somebody up, pick them up, put them in the cart. We never have to re-traumatize that person because now we're hands off and they can sit comfortably in there. The second thing that I feel is super cool about the cart is that one of the biggest concerns in the U.S., and it's probably the same here, the biggest concerns in the U.S. when it comes to law enforcement, either corrections, security, whatever, is staffing.
Yep.
Right. People there's not a line out the door of people waiting to do the job anymore. Right. And what happens is when we have a high risk event where we would be applying the RAP, you got people coming around to help for sure. Like that's going to happen. But after that, everybody has to go back to their post.
Yeah.
So if I have to move that person who's been wrapped later, just manual handling, like you said, I have to go bring everybody back to go do that because I'm, work out, but I'm not moving, 180, 100, 200 pound person. So with the cart, I lift that person up when I have my team here, put them in there, and then I'm one person it takes to move that person, right? So
that's a great point, Tim, because you look at a cart and you think it doesn't have the mobility that is required, and yet you put an individual in that cart and it's so easy to move them from point A to point B. It's great. You don't want 8 people moving an individual. And, If you can do it with less staffing,
Think about the obstacles.
well, absolutely. You've got stairs, you've got doorways. The car has that ability to fit through all of those.
And then one of the cool things that we got to train on, and I'm particularly proud of this, and I'm just going to say it, we have an opportunity to train at an agency, and it was a private prison around here. I won't say which one, but having outside agencies come in and train in Australia doesn't happen. Is that right?
That, without getting into the specifics of it, but from what the general consensus is, no, you don't.
Yeah.
You got some
Sorry. I think the important part to this is knowledge is to be imparted. You don't hold on to knowledge. If you hold on to knowledge, you can't learn. And the ability to get together to share that is so imperative in many jobs that we do.
Yeah.
And because of several processes that are built into Australia's government, really all of the training comes from in-house, right? And what happens with that inherently is it's the same stuff. It's the same stuff. No new ideas come out. That's why that's been around. The rap's been around for 30 years and it hasn't really made it here, is because we're just regurgitating the same stuff. And not to kick you guys' shins or anything, but I am really excited that Safe Restraints Oceania and me being a part of that, we taught, for what we can tell, is the very first outside vendor training in the history of Australia, which is awesome.
Absolutely. And I think, just to touch on that, the response from those members at that agency was unreal. To be fair, everybody's response that we've had, that we've shown this to, that we've collaborated with, that we've discussed every aspect of this, that have seen the videos, that have been in it, every single person has been positive, has engaged, has endorsed, has promoted, has suggested that we continue our journey. And it hasn't been easy. Definitely hasn't been easy, but I think Dean and myself, we both have the resolve to push this through, and with the continued support of Charles and yourself from America, we will do this.
Yeah.
Or are we just stubborn? No, it is important, because believing, I think I mentioned earlier, believing in it is important, and the system works. So we're just, again, imparting the knowledge that has been given to us from our brothers in the States.
I think with that, something that is really cool that you guys do in the States that we don't see much here is you collaborate with interagencies on this training.
Mm-hmm.
You get them all to come together and train on this, and that's an ambition that both Dean and I will strive to encourage and put out there, that different law enforcement agencies come together, get on the same page, because when the police work at the hospitals, or when they work with corrections, or when they different agencies come together, they'll go, oh, that's the rap. We know how to use that. We know how to take that off. We know how to put it on. And the fact that we train people for free, and I'll repeat that, we train them for free. That's something that this company is going to mimic, that you guys do in America. You do it all day, every day. You train agencies from all over the world, not just America. It's Canada, the UAE, and I know you've just done something in Brazil, which is huge.
Yeah.
So it's now getting it out there, and we will continue that. The fact that we have the very similar model to what you guys do in the US on how we plan to operate, and that's as simple as getting in touch with the customers, getting in touch with whoever is in law enforcement, because as we said at the beginning, this is a restraint tool. This is something that is monitored, that is governed by a serial number that's on there, so it's recorded. We know who's got it. We know where everyone is at any one time, and then promote that to get the agencies to come together and actually learn this product.
Yeah, and just because I know what we do in the States, if an agency's interested in the RAP, what is their process? What does that look like for you guys?
Okay, so At the moment, they reach out to both Dean and I. They can either go onto our website, which I'm sure we'll put a link in the bio of this, saferestraintsoceania.com.au. They can go onto our website. They can go onto the contact page. Our phone numbers are on there also, so they can reach out to us anytime and we'll take their call. We can then, if they're interstate, we can have a Teams meeting to begin, or as we are right now, we're flown out to Canberra. We're flying to Adelaide on Friday to train. So it's all go. We're happy to come to you. We're happy to support law enforcement as a whole.
Yeah, just adding to that, there is no wrong time to call us.
No.
We are there. We are there to assist and to help.
I think one of the important things, and anybody that listens to this podcast knows Arc Tactical, and anybody that knows Arc Tactical knows the RAP, because it is the only tool that we really advocate for, that, the shield, all the complementary tools as well. But the reason why we advocate for it is because it works. It's really that simple.
Absolutely.
And when I started my collaboration with Charles with the RAP, one of the things that was super important and impressed me is that he will answer his phone almost all the time. If he gets an email, he will respond to it immediately, text, all that, because service is so important. And I think though we could have chosen many people, I mean, there's how many officers in this country? I mean, there are tons, right? You guys were super responsive as well. You guys, it was important for you to have good communication, build relationships.
Absolutely.
And that's what was so cool, because we're very like-minded that way. So I think it's safe to say, if you are a law enforcement agency, corrections, security, hospital, you name it, and you're interested in getting your hands on the RAP system, just be bold and call or email or do something, because you'll be on it.
If you're an officer on the floor, boots on the ground, we all understand that. We've all come from boots on the ground. If you're a boots on the ground officer and you're in a situation where you need some help for a safer workplace, Safe Restraints Oceania is the answer in Australia and Australasia across the world. So we're here to help. We're here to, Dean and I have been long-term friends, which makes this so much easier. And the fact that we're willing to answer the phone 24/7. If you call us, we'll be there. And if we're not there then, we'll be there very quick afterwards. So,
well, you say you're willing to, but in all honesty, you're excited to. I've seen it. Like, you get little behind the scenes stuff. We were working with an agency that we met with today, and they did something as simple as liked something on LinkedIn. And you guys were so excited because you're just building that network, you building those relationships, and creating that is so critical to letting this grow.
I think you should tell that story about today.
So
Come back to it.
Yeah. So the idea for anyone really is training officers to do a job, and then finding that that officer is off on a workers' comp or can't return to work, struggles to go home to the family because they're off work for 9-10 months, and the mental strain that puts on an individual. So for us, it's a combination of stopping the fight quick, giving care, and making sure that the officers on duty can go home to their families. Mm-hmm. And that's really important, because in my time, I have seen so many people lose their jobs, be out of work, and sometimes there is no need for that. There is no need at all. And we need to do it better. We need to find ways to do it better. We need to keep learning every single day. And what comes with that is training. And what comes with that is the system and the tool that we have behind us.
One of my buddies, Greg Lappin, he's been on the podcast before. His saying is 1% better every day. If you do 1% better every day, you look back in a year and look at some of the people that you were surrounding yourself with that didn't put in any effort. I mean, look how far you come, right? So
yeah, and it's funny. We watched a video of one of our very first videos of what we made to present this, and a year ago, it's so far from where we are now. It is unbelievable.
I watched it too.
So that was funny. I think I said boots on the ground before, but if you're also at the top of your agency, reach out to us. We're here to have those conversations. We're professional individuals who are willing to have a open, frank conversation about where you're at and where you want to go in restraints in your agency. I think that definitely needs to be said, because we understand. We absolutely understand 150% what your guys are going through. And if your crew needs this product or needs a product, actually, I challenge anybody. You go out and find another product that's better than this one, that works, that saves your butt every single time.
There isn't one.
You can't do it. We can't do it. We found it. We can't find it.
You tried.
Were you suggesting a system? The wrap. We just keep on going back to the word product, but it's not to diminish what we've got.
I think one of the cool things is that if you are a leader and you're one of those leaders that has a vision for where you want to take your agency, right? This is something you should look at.
Yeah.
Because it won't it's not just a tool that you have, but it's a process, and it's something that your people can feel invested in, because it is going to for sure keep them safer. If you are a boots on the ground guy and you're interested in improving your agency because it's going to make you safer and it's going to make the people that you're dealing with safer, reach out too.
Yeah.
If you are in leadership or middle management and you're just super happy with how things are and you can't possibly imagine it getting any better than how things are, you probably shouldn't be in leadership.
That's
right?
And it's the truth. Point. That's a fair point.
Because there, in law enforcement, corrections, all of our different disciplines there, many people come to the table with an attitude of, the only thing worse than how things are is change.
Yeah.
And if you're not interested in consistently improving, and that's really what this show's about, is talking about how corrections officers specifically here in the U.S., because that's where my background's from, but being able to consistently improve on your capability set, your skill set, your knowledge base, fitness level, relationships. That's what this whole thing's about. And above any other tactic or tool, the RAP has really embodied that mission.
Yep. And even if you're somebody in an agency within Australasia that's looked at the RAP before, speak to Dean and I. Mm-hmm. We will show you something else.
Yeah.
And that's been a key point, because, not to go on with stories, but definitely a story should be told, is we've got trainers who absolutely love this tool, mm-hmm. who never got it to Australia. They never, ever. Charles took a chance on us. He sent it to us at our home. We got it in the mail. He goes, I've never done that before. It's only ever gone to a police station, a prison. It's only ever gone to law enforcement. It's never gone to somebody in their home. He took a chance on us, and that's why we're so passionate about the fact that you should call us. Those trainers who had that ambition before, who couldn't get the product, well, guess what? Now you can.
Yeah.
We're here. We've got the products. We can show you everything. We are now trained in training these products, and we're here to have any questions answered that you've got.
Yeah, and I think outside of being the directors of Safe Restraints Oceania, you're also master instructor certified, so you can go and teach and certify other people around there, which is super cool.
Yes.
And I like to turn the ship and focus on some training stuff, because I know that in the U.S. we've seen it, and I'm sure you guys are going to see it here. I just want to throw it out there to the audience. But if you've not seen the RAP or been trained on the RAP before, and you're interested, the only requirement truly is that you learn how to use it.
That's it.
Right? Because if you're thinking about it, you said that chains are being used still to this day in this country, and that's what they were doing 139 years ago. Imagine taking somebody from 139 years ago and handing them an iPhone 16 and expecting them to know what to do with it, right? it's intuitive for us, but we've gone through all of these different generations. We've grown up with those types of tools.
Yep.
If they get a wrap, they'll kind of know how to put it on, but they won't know exactly how to put it on. They certainly won't be certified from the company. And so we highly encourage going through, again, our free training.
Free.
And it's an instructor level training that'll certify your officers to go ahead and train the rest of your staff. Because if you're worried, well, how am I going to train 200, 300, 400 people? Well, you don't have to do that. No. All you have to do is train the instructors, and they can work it into their regular training. So.
If you think about somebody who is a section leader within their agency, who goes and manages a use of force when it's taking place, that person is the only person that needs to be trained, because once you've got them to the ground, which is the most common thing that any officer will do, they take charge of that situation. The ankle strap goes on, everyone can slow down.
Yeah.
And once that's slowed down, he can give precise instructions to his other officers, who will also learn it as they go. But then they bring them into their training rooms and they train them.
Well, you bring up a really good point, because in those really gnarly altercations, our stress level goes up as officers, because we're not machines, we're actual humans, right? And when our stress level goes up, without an answer for this problem, we kind of ad lib, right? We have to make that stuff up. And sometimes that reverts into a lot more violence than maybe it would be reasonable, but maybe not necessary if we had something else. And that's what the wrap provides too.
So what I find, Tim, is when you've got somebody, an offender on the ground, and you put chains on, then what? You ask that question, and we've asked it several times.
Then what?
What do you do now? And all you get is a lot of heads moving side to side at each other. There isn't really anything to support the now what.
Yeah.
So
back to the why, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. It's you've got 8 guys or 7 guys or 7 officers moving somebody from A to B, struggling, being gassed out, with the unfortunate opportunity of being injured.
Yeah.
So this, I believe, tool offers a safer system.
One of the things that I saw, because I asked that question recently, and one of the agencies that I asked it to, they showed me their backboard, and they'll cuff somebody to a backboard, and then almost like their pallbearers have to lift this person who's strapped to a backboard and move them around. And that, obviously not a great look, but also tactically horribly inefficient, right?
Yeah, and look, Australia is a big place,
Mm-hmm.
and some of these prisons and locations, law enforcement, they're huge. So going over that distance with a tool that is not able to help you as well as it could do, like the wrap and the cart, game changer. Just one more thing, Dean, before you take the mic from me, I'm so excited to talk about the de-escalation process.
Yeah.
So I reckon we go into that after.
All
right.
Then I'll leave it. But one thing I will say is the wrap is officers don't know what they don't know. That's all they've got to play with.
Mm-hmm.
There is no excuse after looking at this tool to not be challenged and not say, we've got it. It's here. It's better. It's safer. Call us.
Yeah. So getting back into the de-escalation process, this is something that is a game changer in itself.
Yeah.
And those words have been used by Dean and myself since day one. Funnily enough, Dean was the first person to say them to me. This product is a game changer. We keep saying that because it is. The de-escalation process allows you to bring an individual, an offender, out of the wrap through a process.
Yeah.
Because at the moment, what do we have? Nothing. You're either in restraints or you're out of restraints.
Right.
There is no in between. But this particular safer system of restraint, being in the wrap, allows you to loosen some straps, allow the ankle strap to come off completely, and you can actually even stand them up and walk them.
Well, one of the cool things, so growing up in the corrections profession, you'd have a really bad encounter with somebody who was having a bad day.
Yep.
And what we would end up having to do, if there was a fight involved,
Yep.
we'd end up throwing them down on the ground. We'd get them cuffed up. Then we'd fight them back up again, because that was super bright of us, right? We just spent all of our effort to get them down on the ground. And we would have a restraint chair brought in. Now, I don't see a lot of those here, but agencies that use a restraint chair, we'd have to fight that person into the chair after that. It was a nightmare. But after things cooled down, we either had to keep them in it when they were ready to not be in it and extend that, or we'd have to take them out of it and risk them losing control again.
Yeah, and I think what comes from that is you said it, risk, but let's add the word imminent risk, right? Imminent risk doesn't necessarily have to be that person on the ground.
Right.
It could be somebody who's in a cell, who is suffering from a mental health episode, who currently can't get the care because 7 officers or 10 officers are sitting with somebody trying to control them in a combative situation.
Yeah.
So imminent risk goes to everybody across a correctional facility. When you talk about the police, if the police are tied up at this person's house because they're controlling a use of force with limited tools, and surely there are other tools out there, but I would say they're limited, your house could be getting burgled and they can't respond
because they're
in the middle of a use of force.
Yeah.
It's one of the the most simplest things to discuss, but we don't often think about the fact that imminent risk isn't only to that one offender. It's to a whole range of other people.
Yeah, absolutely. The de-escalation component to it allows for somebody to graduate into more mobility and more, I say, freedom of movement.
Yeah.
But as the officers go, if that goes south, we can always just tighten things back up and do it very quickly.
We talk about use of force a lot, but there's the other side to it, which is obviously mental health, self-harm. If somebody is having a medical episode, they start having a seizure, you simply roll them to their side. They're already in the recovery position, ready to go.
Yep.
So it helps in a medical setting. Back to mental health, if somebody is self-harming, you can use this apparatus to place them in it for a period of time and get them to regulate their own feelings. I mean, some of the testimonials that I read before even looking at this product were those offenders, whether they be juveniles or adults, actually felt they could self-regulate better because they haven't got 7 officers holding them down.
Right.
They're wrapped up like they were as a baby. So,
right. I love it.
Thanks. I got that. Not adding anything.
I love it. Well, so you guys are growing in the area here. What upcoming things do you have? I mean, we're here at the Police Technologies Conference.
So over the next 2 days, we're going to be associating ourselves with a whole range of police services across Australia. They're all coming together here at the Hyatt Hotel in Canberra for the Police Technology Forum. We're going to be discussing the RAP to them. It's something they have never seen before. So it's going to be an exciting thing, not only for us, but hopefully for them as well.
Mm-hmm.
We have training sessions that are coming up even as early as this Friday. We're discussing with other agencies. We've currently got equipment out there in the test and evaluation stage. And what that means is you go through the training, you get the product, and you go through a test and evaluation to see if that product works for your agencies. And we obviously discuss the specifics with those agencies at the time.
And what do you guys charge for that?
It's nothing.
It's free.
It's absolutely free.
It's same with the U.S. too, right? And the reason why we're able to do that is because it works, right?
Yeah.
We know that it's going to be a good fit because it will save your butt, man.
So the fact that if you are in the agency and you've seen what we offer and what we do, we are willing to come to you, train you for free, give you the product to test and evaluate for free for a period of time. The only thing that we ask is you stay in touch with us.
Right.
One of the biggest factors, stay in touch with us. Don't use it unless you're trained, and keep it in a secure location.
Yeah.
Those 3 things.
Pretty simple.
That's all we ask.
Very cool. So if somebody wanted to get a hold of you, and first of all, if you hear this and you're at the conference, at the Police Technologies Conference, we're at booth 6.
Number 6, we are.
And those other 5, we don't care about them. We're just focused on 6. And you enter the conference room. It's a perfect spot. So I'm going to try to get this out here early and capitalize on that. But come see us if you just want to say hi. Meet some Yank from Washington State in America there. I'd be happy to shake your hand.
Yeah, absolutely.
But outside of this conference, if somebody wanted to get a hold of you, what's the best way to do that?
So call us.
Okay.
Give us a phone call. Our phone numbers are on our website.
Okay.
You can go to our website, saferestraintsoceania.com.au. The contact page there, fill out the information, and we will get back to you. There is no holds about that. We will get back to you.
If somebody's on LinkedIn, you guys are pretty heavily present on LinkedIn as well.
So yeah, we're obviously personally on LinkedIn, but then we have Safe Restraints Oceania's LinkedIn page. Follow us. Information's getting out there all the time through LinkedIn. In fact, today we've just posted that we've had meetings in the heart of the nation, being Canberra. We went to Parliament House today, and we had discussions about the RAP, which is huge.
That's awesome.
Absolutely huge.
I think on that note as well, what I would ask is that people support us supporting them. We're only as good as those that look at this and want this product and want it to work. So we're here. Give us a call.
Yeah.
Very cool. Well, I think that we covered the things that we wanted to cover. Is there any one message that you would like to get the audience and the potential audience members or users of the RAP? If there was one message that you wanted to share out there, what would that be?
We have a duty of care to treat all humanity fairly.
I love it.
That's our slogan, and that's what we'll end on.
And the last thing I'm going to say, which is what you touched on, Tim, don't let a bad day be your last.
Let's go.
That's it.
I love it, you guys. Thank you so much for doing this. It's a lot of fun.
Thank you.
I appreciate you guys taking me all.